So I started getting harassed around the time of the royal wedding. The moment that people knew I disagreed with some things about my sisters.
I grew up as an only child, and I wished I had siblings.
It's like everything. It's lie upon lie upon lie.
Hello to all my gorgeous, good-looking friends. You are tuning into TRG's series covering the Markle vs. Markle defamation lawsuit. If you are new to the channel, welcome. For those who are returning, thank you for coming back and supporting my work. I'm always grateful to have this like-minded community to discuss the beloved royal family and the cultural impact of its members on society, particularly in America. Okay, before I get into this, let me just put the disclaimer. I am not a legal expert. I am simply just reading what's in the public court files and giving my interpretation and observations / opinions. Please do your own research and come to your own conclusion. Hello, gorgeous, good-looking friends. I wasn't going to talk about this, but since Jack Royston from Newsweek has brought it up, I feel that it's important that we clarify and correct a couple things. We all know and are aware that Jack Royston is part of the Sussex propaganda machine. And in this article, he writes, Meghan Markle's efforts to get sister Samantha Markle's libel case against her thrown out will come to a head in a new courtroom showdown, a court filing has revealed. Samantha is suing Meghan for libel over her Oprah Winfrey interview and aspects of her Netflix documentary, Harry and Meghan, released in December 2022. The Duchess of Sussex's lawyers argue that the case has no merit and want Judge Charlene Edwards Honeywell to throw the case out at federal court in Tampa, Florida. This propagandist for Meghan Markle positioned this article in favor of Meghan. We all know that he is not presenting a balanced and fair objective view, but instead pushing the narrative of Meghan's side and her claims to get this case dismissed. Let's start off with Jack Royston twisting the narrative from the very first sentence, in where he says Meghan Markle's efforts to get sister Samantha Markle's libel case against her thrown out will come to a head in a new courtroom showdown, a court filing has revealed. No, there isn't a new courtroom showdown yet. Samantha Markle was the one who filed the joint request for this oral argument. The judge has yet to respond back to say, yes, I approve. It's scheduled for X, Y, and Z. Or she could come back and say, no, the case is moving forward and we will go to trial, or no, I'm giving a motion to dismiss, not necessary. But Jack decides to go ahead and assume that this is happening, which it's not yet. It's only a request at this time. I held back from talking about it because it's not newsworthy, in my opinion. Also, the judge is not living under a rock. I'm sure that she sees media every single day, and the way that Meghan and Harry saturate the media no doubt could influence her sentiment or feeling in which way she's going to be moving. I mean, this is the strategy of Meghan and Harry. I was hoping the judge was going to make a decision before I went ahead and talked about it, because the judge could come back and say, no, it's not happening. Anyhow, we're here, and I think now is a good time to remind everybody that Jack Royston was a part of the hate campaign against Samantha Markle and colluded with Ellie Hall and Boozy to push out that false report from Bot Sentinel in efforts to get Samantha kicked off of social media. Boozy, Jack, and Smelly Hall all aligned together to create this echo chamber in which on social media got picked up by other journalists who then replicated this story. Jack Royston and Christopher Boozy were quite friendly before this whole thing went down with Samantha Markle's Twitter accounts. In fact, Jack Royston was so friendly that he had Christopher Boozy on as a guest in his January 2022 podcast to talk about the latest Bot Sentinel report targeting the YouTubers. Let's not forget that there were active campaigns targeting Murky Meg, Taz, and Yankee Wally, enforcing them off of social media platforms such as Twitter and YouTube. We all saw how badly they were treating Yankee Wally and bullying her off of Twitter, and then followed her over to YouTube and attacked her there to get her removed as well. I'm happy to say that she didn't let that get her down, and now she's back on YouTube. This couple has used tactics to silence and intimidate so many people that now it's coming around, and I hope that Samantha gets her day in court so all of this can come out. There have been too many people where this couple indirectly have affected the personal safety as well as the mental well-being of those that they wanted to silence and shut down. They need someone from the judicial space to tell them that everyone has the right to free speech and the right to freedom of thought. And if they don't like the opinion, that's just too bad. You can't take that away from people. You can't be online behind these campaigns that are directly jeopardizing the physical safety of others, in which, at that point, a case could be made for this to be seen as domestic terrorism. And that's just my humble opinion. So going back to my story about Jack Royston and the role that he played in all of this, make no mistake, but this was a highly coordinated campaign at this time to discredit Samantha, because let's not forget that Samantha filed her lawsuit on March 3rd, 2022. And right away, the very next day, Meghan's lawyers hit back with an extremely obnoxious statement, but they gave that statement to Newsweek. And Jack Royston's podcast confirms it, as it's heard here.
And her attorney, Michael Crump, has been outright dismissive of the whole thing. In a statement released to Newsweek, he said, "This baseless and absurd lawsuit is just a continuation of a pattern of disturbing behavior."
Then the following week, Jack Royston writes about Samantha Markle's Twitter account almost every single day. And if you notice all the articles that he's written for Newsweek, it's all pro Meghan and Harry articles, and we're talking about hundreds of articles. Jack also talks about the other royals, but it comes from a very negative place. Like, he's done many articles about Prince Andrew, and he's also done many articles about Catherine and William, specifically focusing around the structural racism within the institution. Jack was a major contributor to the bad publicity Catherine and William received when they went to Jamaica. But back to Samantha. As you can see, Jack started writing about Samantha's Twitter account getting shut down, and then talking about the other accounts, and then also incorporating that Smelly Hall BuzzFeed article that used information that was given by Christopher Boozy to write this hit piece. Now, we all know that Christopher Boozy was responsible for getting Samantha Markle shut down, as well as getting other people shut down. Now, as you can see, on March 14th, he emailed someone, not a generic email address. He emailed someone as he blocked out their name to get the rest of these accounts suspended. Now, I don't doubt that Christopher Boozy had a contact within Twitter that he could reach out to and get stuff done. But let's not forget that Harry also had contacts within Twitter, and I might say very high up contacts, in which Jack Royston chronicled every step of the way of Harry's journey with violating Americans' First Amendment rights by engaging with an NGO who was directly affecting government policy. This same Aspen report was funded by American taxpayers' dollars. So as he is stating there that he wants to affect policymakers and challenging our government to take some type of action to censor and dictate what people can and cannot say online. Now, thanks to Jack for writing this beautiful article implicating Harry's involvement with trying to push policymakers and Congress to act to penalize and censor Americans whose opinions do not align with whatever agenda is being pushed, classifying it as misinformation, disinformation. Now, as it was exposed from the Twitter files, these NGOs who have been working on behalf of the Democrats and aligning with these tech companies such as Twitter, Facebook, Google, in suppressing information that the government doesn't want to come out, aka Hunter Biden. Now, who's to say that Harry is also guilty of doing the same exact thing by getting Meghan Markle's critics offline? So let's not forget that this guy, Yoel Roth, head of Twitter Security and Safety, was on this Aspen Disinformation Commission committee that Harry was a part of. So no doubt that Harry had access to the right people in order to get people removed from social media platforms, which we know that he and his wife were behind the scenes doing exactly that, whether it be through their Sussex PR machine or the people that they've hired. But yes, they did have access to the right people to get people pulled. Again, I stress, this is why it's important for this case to move forward, because Harry is a foreign prince on American soil, and if he is influencing our government and policymakers to affect our civil rights, then technically the government is also looped into this by willfully allowing this foreign influence to undermine our democracy. And that is the point that has to be driven home by the Heritage Foundation. But going back to Samantha's case, the judge has not agreed to this yet, so at this time, there is no oral argument scheduled, but most likely it will get there. It's just, for now, the judge hasn't said yes or no. But what's important to understand is how Meghan uses the media to create the narrative that sticks. And here is a great example of how all these puff pieces and articles that have been pushed out by Meghan's team have shaped the narrative around Samantha Markle. Now, I don't know if Samantha watches my channel or has seen any of the videos that I've done on covering her court case, but if by chance she does see it, in my opinion, if I were in Samantha's shoes, I would get this wiki page cleaned up because there are a lot of inaccuracies and it's being fueled by the misinformation that Meghan and Harry have been pushing out from the propaganda machine. So what they're doing to write all this is being pulled from articles that have been posted in the media that are heavily influenced from articles that Meghan had put out. Like, you don't want this to be saying, in the late 2018, the media reported that Markle had been placed on a watch list maintained by the Fixated Threat Assessment Center of persons exhibiting signs of obsession with members of the royal family. Yes, that went out from mainstream media because Meghan was behind it. So I think it's important that this gets cleaned up because it doesn't paint the best picture, especially around the lawsuit section. You don't know what the judge is going to be looking at or access to whatever information. We all know that the judge most likely has seen stuff come out about Meghan and Harry because they have saturated the media. Also, maybe Samantha should reach out to Wikipedia to see to get this page locked because you don't know how crazy some of the sugars are to go in and write whatever they feel like and that get out into the public domain, which you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward and controlling what you can within your limitations. So this would be an area that I think would be easy and a great way to make sure that the correct story is getting out there, meaning the truth. I'm really glad that they're requesting this oral argument because, as I've said in previous videos, it does appear that Meghan's trying to get the last word in and get her voice into the judge's head. So by having this 60-minute conference call, I guess, maybe it be via Zoom, she'll be able to at least say what she needs to say and articulate things that may not be so easy to articulate on paper. So hopefully the judge will agree to it and it happens. But what do you guys think? Do you think that this case is going to move forward? I don't know. I think it does have a good chance in doing so if we can get some of this stuff exposed. And perhaps maybe in this oral argument, she will be able to show the judge that there are a lot more layers to this case than it just be saying Samantha Markle changed her last name only when she started dating Prince Harry. There is a straight-on campaign that was executed out on Samantha that I think needs to be brought up and needs to be shown in order for this to move to discovery. But that's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and you know it, as always, I will be back with more content, but until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!
Such a fraud.